Hi Year 9, this is now lesson 2 on trigonometry, so you should now be able to label your sides opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse, depending on what angle you've been given. And hopefully you listened to the song at the end of lesson 1, so you should be recognizing these words here. So hopefully you drew out the triangles that was in the trigonometry song, where you draw out the triangle showing that sine theta equals opposite over hypotenuse. Cos theta, remember theta is the letter we often give to an angle, equals adjacent over hypotenuse, and tan theta equals opposite over adjacent. So you are expected to learn those. You won't be given those in any test. So some people just remember the phrase SOHCAHTOA. You've probably heard people even say it. Some people use silly phrases like silly old Harry chased a horse through our attic. Some old hags can't always hide their age. Let me see if I can find a couple more. Some of her children are having trouble over algebra. You get the idea, but just learn those 3 sort of phrases there. Okay, so this PowerPoint is just checking that you understand at least whether we use sine, cos or tan. So don't worry about actually finding the side just yet. You need to watch the Maths Watch video later to actually sort of specifically find a missing side. Okay, so let's look at this one. I think there's quite a few examples, so I'll go through these with you. So this is the angle we're talking about here, 65 degrees, and we always label the hypotenuse first. That's always the easiest one to get out the way. So the hypotenuse is always opposite that right angle. So just to remind you, SOHCAHTOA trigonometry we can only use in right angled triangles. So this x here is the hypotenuse, and this side here that is touching the angle that I'm interested in, next to or next door to or touching, we use the word adjacent. This side over here I'm not interested in at all. That's the opposite. So because I'm not interested in that side, I won't be using anything with an O in. So can you hear? I'm interested in, I've got the adjacent and I'd like to find the hypotenuse. So that means I've got to use A and H, which means it's going to be cosine. So don't worry at all just yet what you actually do with cosine, but just that you understand you will be using cosine. Let's have a look at a few more. So here's the angle I'm interested in here, 41 degrees. This side of 9 centimeters is opposite my right angle, so that must be the hypotenuse. And look, I'm interested in finding the opposite side to the angle. I don't care about this side here, the adjacent, so I won't have one with an A in. So I'm interested in the opposite, and I've got the hypotenuse, so it sounds like it's going to be sine. Opposite and hypotenuse means you will be using the sine button on your calculator. Okay, don't worry about actually using it just yet till you've watched another video. Okay, this one here, so we've moved things around a bit. So look, that 34 centimeters is the hypotenuse. The opposite would be over here, wouldn't it? Opposite to the angle that you're given. So I haven't got the opposite. I'm not interested in that. So look, I want the adjacent. Adjacent and hypotenuse is cos again, or cosine. So cos is short for cosine. Tan is short for tangent. But just learn them as sine, cos, tan for now. So that was cosine. Okay, so here's the angle of interest, 18 degrees. This side here would be the hypotenuse opposite the right angle. So look, I don't need to worry about that hypotenuse this time. So I'm looking for the one that doesn't have a hypotenuse in. So it sounds like tan because I'm interested in the opposite and I've got the adjacent. So no information on the hypotenuse means you use tan. Okay, next one. You've got the opposite to the angle given, so I've got my opposite. I haven't got the hypotenuse again. Look, opposite the right angle is the hypotenuse. I haven't got that, so I've only got, I want to find the opposite, and I've got the adjacent, so that sounds like tan again. I think on that first worksheet you just write down so, car or toa, but I want you to understand this means we are going to be using tan later on. Okay, next one. The right angle is here, so opposite that is the hypotenuse, so 9 is the hypotenuse, and I'm interested in finding the opposite to the angle given, so I've got opposite to find, hypotenuse given. I don't care about the adjacent, so I'm not looking at anything with A's in, so it sounds like sine to me, opposite and hypotenuse, sine. By the way, if you were given sort of two sides, you know, imagine you were given that 12 and then you were given this was 8 and you'd got to find x. Well, I suppose you could use Pythagoras, but you could actually also use sine, cos or tan if you're given an angle and the other side. But very often you're just given one side, one angle, and then you're trying to find another side here. So we've got the hypotenuse. Well, trying to find the hypotenuse, I've got opposite to 37 degrees, so opposite. I don't care about this adjacent side, so get rid of that one. That one, it sounds like it is sine. So let's have a look at this one. We've got opposite the right angle, we're trying to find the hypotenuse. I've got opposite the angle that's given, so that's called my opposite. So, you know, you understand you're labeling your sides. So I don't care about the adjacent again. So that sounds like a sine. So, or SOH if you want to write that down instead. Let's have a look at this one. So opposite my right angle is hypotenuse. So I'm interested in that. I haven't got opposite to the angle given though. So I haven't got the op side, but I've got the adjacent. So I've got adjacent and I'm interested in trying to find the hypotenuse. So it sounds like it's this one, A and H. So that one is going to be cos or cosine. Have we got many more? I bet you've got the hang of it by now. So we've got opposite the right angle. So I've got the hypotenuse. I haven't got opposite the given angle. So I haven't got opposite, but I'm interested in finding the adjacent. So I've got adj, hype. So it sounds like cos again, or you can just write down car for now, I think, on that first worksheet. Okay, I think we're nearly there. So I haven't got the hypotenuse this time. Can you see? I haven't got the longest side, the hypotenuse. I've got the opposite and I'm trying to find the adjacent. Adjacent is touching the angle that's given. So it sounds like a toa. Sounds like you're going to be using tan on your calculator. We're nearly there. Right, so we've got, there's my angle of interest. I haven't got the hypotenuse. That's opposite the right angle, so I haven't got that. I've got the opposite. I'm trying to find the adjacent. The adjacent is touching the angle that's given, so it sounds like toa again. You're going to be using tan. Hooray! Okay, hopefully after all those examples you've got the hang of it. So you're going to be completing the first worksheet where I'm quite happy you can either write sine, cos, tan or write so, car or toa for now. And then you must watch the Maths Watch video, the long video, not the short 1 minute one, making notes on the 4 stages. And then you've actually got to try and have a go at the Maths Watch where you're trying to find missing sides. Okay, thanks.